Peace. Infinite Waters diving deep once again. Shout out to all of you wonderful deep divers. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Hope everyone is taking care of themselves. Let's breathe. Woo! Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Raising the frequency. I feel so much better now. Raising the vibration. Sending you all tons of good ass energy. And like I say, let me send some good energy to everyone in Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa. Category 5. They're saying Category 4 right now, but could be Category 5. You know, it's like causing a lot of devastation. I put out that video, Deep Dive, was already gone viral, right? But I said, okay, we're going to talk about this, Deep Divers, because we're going to talk about the signs of the times, right? Jamaica Hurricane Melissa. They call it the storm of the century. Signs of the times. I always tell you, everything that's happening right now isn't happening by accident. It's happening for a reason. You know, some people say, is this just a natural disaster? Is it man-made? What's going on? And I will tell you this, that you have to remind yourself that there is no such thing as a coincidence, right? This being one of Jamaica's worst hurricanes in its history. It's not an accident. This is all happening. I told you. Pay attention. So we're going to talk about the signs of the times. Deep divers. Shout out to everyone who's here. Shout out to everyone who's diving deep. We got a lot to talk about. Get the brand new book, Deep Divers. Feel Alive 2. Unlock your infinite power. The secret recipe to becoming your greatest version. Now out on Amazon. Shout out to all of you deep divers. And I actually found a song. And I'm like, okay, I got to play this as the intro. Normally I'm playing 80s, but because it's like this hurricane, the song is The Storm Is Over, right? So can we start the show off with that, deep divers? Can we start the show off with that? Right? Because we got a lot to talk about, but I'm going to keep it brief, right? I just wanted to give you the signs of the times. Also, join the YouTube membership, deep divers. Click join down below. Join the Patreon page. There's a lot of videos I don't even put out on YouTube. Go to the Patreon. Shout out to all the patrons there. And you know, we can really play this song because it's gonna put a good vibration out into the universe, right? And it's the storm is over. So let's go.
We the children of light, and we will never let up, never giving up fight, yeah. We didn't make it through the night, yeah. Done the crawling all night, but keep your head up, Charlie. We were made for this life, yeah. Wait to see how we rise up. We've been down for too long, waiting for a come up. Better days around the corner, all the pain made us stronger, yeah. We aim for the long run, keep on surviving in this war for no reason. Now we changing the season, yeah. Storm is over now, storm is over now. Me I say storm is over now. Storm is over now, storm is over now. Me I say storm is over now. Storm is over. Change is coming tonight. Can see the sky start to clear up. We've been waiting for life, oh. Never giving up the fight, no. Start a countdown right now. About to take off, yeah. It's our time to rise, oh. We're the children of light, oh. We've been down for too long, waiting for a come up. Better days around the corner. All the pain made us stronger, yeah. We aim for the long run, keep on surviving in this war for no reason. Now we changing the season, yeah. Storm is over now, storm is over now. Me I say storm is over now. bailo. Ella bailo. Ella bailo. Ella bailo. Ella bailo.
Right, so I came across that song Deep Divers. I said, okay, we might as well start the show off with that, right? So once again, I'm sending good energy to everyone who's been affected, right, by this massive hurricane. And you got to remind yourself, deep divers, all of these things which are happening right now are happening for a reason, right? Smash the like button, share the video if you support the real. And I want to hear your views. You know, what do you think about this whole situation? A lot of you had a lot to say in the video prior to this. So put it in the chat, right? Let's talk about it. If there's something that you think people should know about, you know what to do. Hit the super chat, put it in the chat. Let's talk about it. So I'm just going to go straight into it, right? The signs of the times, right? Jamaica, Hurricane Melissa. Storm of the century, they're calling it. Signs of the times. You got to remind yourself, it's awfully strange that you're having a lot of events happening all around the world, a lot of so-called natural disasters. You had Maui, you had the earthquakes in Turkey. You got a whole lot of earthquakes, right? You've had the hurricanes in Florida, and it keeps happening every single year around this time. And mark my words, next year there's going to be another storm, even bigger than this one, because we're in a kind of season where this is going to happen even more. And you have to remind yourself, like I said, it's happening for a reason. Lorenzo Williams, thank you so much for supporting the show. Let me give you a round of applause. Lorenzo Williams, shout out to you. Hi, Ralph. In the eye of the storm, how do you remain in control? Peace and blessings. Phenomenal question. Phenomenal question, right? So let's just talk about that, because you see, it's not just physical storms out there we're talking about and hurricanes. We're also talking about the storms that can affect our life at any time. That's why I spoke about how we have to overcome these storms. And you got to remind yourself, if you want to remain in control, you have to remind yourself you're not in control. You aren't in control of everything happening out there. You know, a lot of people are going to lose homes, lose cars. And, you know, I'm praying that there's no more loss of life there in Jamaica. But you have to remind yourself, there's nothing you can do with storms outside of you. All you can do is just hope for the best. But there is so much you can do for the inner storms that we all go through. You have to remind yourself that you got to be the calm in the storm. You got to remind yourself that every storm that's brewing up inside of you is happening for a reason. It didn't just happen out of the blue. Sometimes you're going through something, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel this rage, this storm building up. And you got to pay attention to your thoughts. You got to pay attention to your words. You got to pay attention to your attitude, your actions, right? And that's why I always tell you, take a deep breath. Woo! Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Take a deep breath of that good ass prana, because life is a storm, right? Life can be a storm sometimes, and it's not personal. It's just that it's going to be a challenge for all of us. Every one of us is going to be in the midst of a storm. And if you don't know how to deal with that, you're going to be wiped out. You don't deal with it by screaming at the storm, by cursing at the storm. The storm is going to be the storm. So you have to remind yourself that you have to focus internally, because there's nothing you can do externally. And the more you focus internally, the external now starts to match your internal. So you got to remind yourself every single day, like I said, be the calm in the storm. Be the calm in the storm. Right? Lorenzo Williams, shout out to you. Great question. Shout out to everyone in the chat, deep divers, everyone who's diving deep. Like I said, we're going to talk about it. Jamaica, Hurricane Melissa, storm of the century, they're calling it, signs of the times. So what is the first sign of the times, deep divers, we can really talk about? Okay, it's this. The planet is mirroring our collective energy. We've got to pay attention. Like I say, it's awfully strange that all of these events are happening. And when you understand how this universe works, it works on collective thoughts. One of the Hermetic principles is the principle of mentalism. And this is what the ancients knew, that all is mental, all is mind. In fact, there is no world out there without our minds. So everything that's happening in our world is first created in our minds. That's a slow motion, right? That's a slow motion. Everything that's happening out there in the world is first created in our minds. And you got to remind yourself that, yes, these events happen naturally, but you have to also realize that Gaia is awake. Gaia is alive. Mother Nature is alive, awake, and she's going to bark back at all of us. If we're not getting right with the planet, we're polluting the planet. A lot of us are causing a lot of mayhem on this planet, wars happening, all kinds of foolishness. So there's going to be repercussions. There's going to be karma. There's going to be Gaia talking to us through these natural events that happen. It's all energy. So once you remind yourself that this is not a random event, these hurricanes we see happening a lot these days, whether it's Florida, Jamaica, it's happening for a reason. And you have to remind yourself, like I said, in the last few decades, we've had more natural disasters than in the last few hundred years. It's all culminating, and it's all based on everything that's happening right now on the planet. Have you noticed, deep divers, that the tension is high on the planet, right? There's a lot happening. Callie, let me say a big shout out to you for blessing Infinite Waters. Callie, shout out to you. Hey, Ralph. Yes, Mother Earth. Mother Earth equals heart, feelings. Absolutely. And this is why I always say that nothing is random. And this is the reason why the Native Americans did the rain dance, because they realized that we can actually influence the weather. We can actually influence everything around us based on our own vibration, based on our own frequency. So when you see these events like hurricanes happening, it seems like, oh my gosh, this is just so random. But actually, nothing is random in this universe. Everything is happening for a reason. And we're here to find out what it is, right? We have to find why are these things happening? How come it seems like there's so many earthquakes? You had Maui, you had the wildfires in Australia, right? It seems like a lot of cataclysmic events are happening, flooding in Japan, right? Tsunamis in Japan. These are the signs of the times. You know, this was prophesied not only in the Bible, in all ancient texts. They've talked about these times we're in right now, where humanity is going to have its day of reckoning. And these are the days we're in right now. It is a wake-up call. It is a wake-up call. And like I said, I'm sending good energy to everyone in Jamaica, everyone who's been affected by this, because you see, the effects of this is going to cost billions of dollars, right? It's going to cost a lot of money. So let me play you a report, which I didn't play in it's an update. And let's see what's happening over there. Then I'm really going to dive deep. And shout out to everyone who's here, deep divers. Let's go.
We have breaking news on Hurricane Melissa. This is a record-breaking storm that is bearing down right now on Jamaica. It is a monster Category 5 hurricane, 185-mile-per-hour winds that are now moving over land with gusts topping 220 miles per hour. And this is making Melissa now the second strongest hurricane ever in Atlantic history, the strongest ever to hit Jamaica.
For places near the eye of the storm, a nightmare scenario is unfolding. You have catastrophic winds tearing through the island like a slow-moving tornado, one that just sits there. Several months' worth of rain is also coming down. And just hours ago, the image that you're looking at right now, you could actually see a bridge there that was spanning the river, that clearly underwater. You have life-threatening flash flooding, and mudslides have become a major concern, as we've just learned seconds ago that the hurricane has officially made landfall in Jamaica, though its effects have been felt across the island now for hours. CNN's Derek Van Dam is live in Kingston for us. Derek, what is the latest where you are?
Hey, you know, Boris, that's the beauty of live television. You're finding out about it making landfall before I did, but that's that was me waiting for this live shot to occur. That's interesting. Here it is from the National Hurricane Center. Melissa making landfall in southwestern Jamaica near New Hope, with an estimated maximum wind of 185 miles per hour, 295 kilometers per hour, a minimum pressure of 892 millibars. An extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Do not leave your shelter. Wait as the eye passes over. This is critical information. That eye is so well defined. Now that it's officially come on shore, more than 50% of the eye, that is what officially calls for landfall from the National Hurricane Center. But the eye is so clear that people often mistake the end of the storm. So as they come out and they look up, they'll see perhaps birds flying around. The skies will be sunny. It'll be clear all the way up to the sky, and the winds will drop dramatically, next to nothing, probably calm. And a lot of times people will go outside, venture out, check their property if they're not fully aware of the situation, because the backside of the eye will come through in just a few minutes' time. So what's so destructive about this is that the winds on the northern side of that eye wall that are penetrating the southern coastline of Jamaica right now, they're going to be from the opposite direction once the other side of the eye wall comes through. That's the counterclockwise rotation around a hurricane. So that will catch people off guard. If there's debris already laying on the grounds, it's going to be thrown in an opposite direction, so it will catch people who are unaware off guard, no doubt. So we're in Kingston, the capital, and I just want to scene set. It's windy here, but we're 100 miles east of where the center of Melissa is taking shape. The second strongest storm in Atlantic history, the modern record-keeping, the strongest storm in Jamaica. There's so many superlatives, so many facts, little nuggets to throw out there, but Kingston largely spared from the worst catastrophic winds. Good news, a glimpse of good news, is because this is the population density, 1 million people here, but 3 million people across the entire country. And what's happening on the western parts of this beautiful island nation is pure and utter devastation. It's going to be heartbreak to see the aftermath of this storm. But we got to focus on what people are going to be dealing with this slow-moving disaster, as it's moving more or less the same speed as a brisk walk. So every once in a while, we'll get these the rain bands that come through, a gust of very powerful tropical storm to near hurricane force winds. Right now, as I speak, I can hear some emergency personnel rushing behind me. We'll wait to see where that's coming from. Not sure where they're going, but it's good to see fire trucks, fire engines operating again, because we're in Kingston and because we're away from the center. Maybe they're going to go see to something that's happening up the road here. But what's possible over western parts of the country, roads will likely be inaccessible because of this catastrophic wind, because of the mudslides and landslides that we know are occurring or are about to occur with this. This is a farming and agricultural part of western Jamaica that is being hammered right now with the strongest, most catastrophic winds. That is going to have economic impacts, not to mention Montego Bay is on the north side of the island, and it looks like that could see a direct eye wall hit from this as it traverses and crosses over the island. Think about the tourism that is so synonymous with the coastal areas of Jamaica, especially that region. This will be devastating for those areas and very difficult to recover from. Back to you guys.
Derek Van Dam, please, you and the crew stay safe out there in Kingston, Jamaica, as Melissa makes landfall. Let's bring in Senator Abka Fitz-Henley, Jamaica's Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister. Senator, thank you so much for being with us. I just want to get a read on you on how conditions are where you are right now as this Category 5 hurricane makes landfall.
Thank you, Boris, and hello to your viewers on CNN. Well, I'm in capital city Kingston, very much like your correspondent who just gave an indication of what's happening in Kingston just now. But our major concern now is for the area where landfall has been made by Hurricane Melissa, that's St. Elizabeth, on the southwest of the island of Jamaica. The preliminary accounts are devastating. A number of homes have been damaged. I'm hearing accounts about hospitals and medical centers losing their ceiling and facilities that are intended to provide electricity. The Jamaica Public Service Company's building in a section of St. Elizabeth called Black River, the ceiling has totally gone. So it's utter devastation in sections of St. Elizabeth, pretty much most of the parish based on the preliminary accounts we're getting. However, the government of Jamaica stands ready to assist whenever the storm passes and the conditions are reasonably okay and safe. Our emergency team will go in and assist people who are in dire straits.
Yeah, we're sorry to hear about the reports you're getting about that hospital. We've also learned that Melissa is responsible for some 3 deaths across the island. Do you happen to know if that number has changed at all in the last few hours?
Those fatalities occurred with people preparing for the eventuality of Hurricane Melissa. I have not been able to confirm additional fatalities, and I wouldn't like to speculate on that, but given that it's a Category 5 hurricane, it is making its way over the southern section of the island, a farming community. Some of the houses are very much modern and properly developed. Many of them are, but some are not. So it would not surprise me if that figure increased. However, we're hoping that is not the case, because the priority of the administration of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is to put in place measures. Indeed, we prepared significantly to save as many lives as possible. And that's why over 800 shelters were opened across Jamaica. Approximately 6,000 people, I'm hearing, based on the latest indication from the officials, have made their way into shelters to get safety and some sustenance during the passage of Hurricane Melissa. So look, we're hoping for the best, but as far as sections of southern Jamaica and central Jamaica are concerned, unfortunately, it is utter devastation.
Yeah, again, I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm glad that folks have at least heeded the warnings about the strength of this storm. And to that point, I wonder if there are any specific areas of concern when it comes to the cleanup, because obviously, as you said, if this looks like the images that we're seeing in the initial reports that we've gotten, it's going to be a tough road to build back. What are your biggest concerns in the coming days?
Well, our biggest concern is the livelihood of the people. A lot of livelihoods have been destroyed because St. Elizabeth and its environment, its environs are significantly farming communities, and a lot of livestock would have naturally been destroyed due to the advent of or the occurrence of Hurricane Melissa. Also, 35% of Jamaica is out of electricity, and southern Jamaica and sections of western Jamaica account for a vast majority of that percentage I just alluded to. So restoring power to various communities which have been disenfranchised or not facilitated because of the storm by electricity will be a major challenge, given that in Jamaica we don't have much underground power systems. You mainly have poles and overhead power lines. So that will be a major challenge, as it was with Hurricane Beryl last year, but it might well pose a more significant challenge, and it could possibly be a longer wait for people on that end of the island because of the intensity of Hurricane Melissa, Category 5, the most powerful hurricane to have hit Jamaica ever in our history. But we're hoping for the best. And indeed, we have put in place measures to ensure that the water systems are sustained for as long as possible. Generators have been located at various sections of the island to ensure that even if there's no electricity, people have access to running water, which is important, as you'd imagine, Boris, in a natural disaster.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And we are hoping for the best for you and the people of Jamaica. Please keep in contact with us. Senator Abka Fitz-Henley, thank you so much.
Thank you. And just allow me to say to the people of Jamaica that the administration of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness recognizes that you are going through a difficult time. We stand ready to assist. Stay calm as best as possible. It might be challenging, but help will be on the way as soon as it is reasonably safe for our evacuation and first responders to go in. Thank you so much.
So I just wanted to play you that context deep dive as an update, the latest update about everything that's happening with the hurricane, right? And I want to hear you. I want to hear from you. Like Callie hitting that super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the show. You're most definitely appreciated. Callie, shout out to you. NACT University, Esoteric Codes, Melissa, Mel, equal Melanin, Issa, Yeshua, his Indian name, Jamaica, Yamaka, your maker as in Jamaica, Yah, Divine Feminine. That's a powerful breakdown right there. And I always say, you have to always realize that everything is encoded, right? When you start to really understand how the world works, you realize that even names carry huge significance, huge symbolism. So you have to remind yourself that, Callie is breaking it down right there, but that's powerful right there. You have to realize, like I said, these are the signs of the times. We're in a world right now where these things aren't just happening by accident. They're not just happening randomly. They're happening for a reason. And the planet is mirroring our collective energy. And that's one sign of the times, right? That's one sign of the times that everything happening right now, the planet is mirroring our collective energy. Because once again, if you take a look around at the world, a lot of people are in a storm internally. Have you noticed that, deep divers? That a lot of people are in a storm internally. And a lot of people have storms brewing inside of them. A lot of people are walking around with a screw face, pent up anger, frustration. A lot of people are divided right now all around the world, in America, everywhere. there's huge division, right? And these are the signs of the times. You also have to realize that Mother Nature is sending a wake-up call to humanity. Mother Nature is sending a wake-up call to humanity, to everyone on this planet, that, hey, it's time to wake up. Because you see, in a blink of an eye, everything can be wiped out. And what you have to really remind yourself is that anytime a storm happens, now is the time you have to become an alchemist. There are a lot of people, and that's what I spoke about in the first video. There are a lot of people who are going through a storm and they have to become an alchemist. You got to dance in that storm. You got to ride the storm. You got to remind yourself that actually you are stronger than the storm. And 4 words, this too shall pass. So you always have to remind yourself that any storm that's happening is a wake-up call for anybody. A storm forces us to say, okay, what's happening? What's going on? It forces us to pay attention. And this is the reason why you have to find the hidden meaning of this Hurricane Melissa. Otherwise, you're just going to be confused. You're just going to say, well, it's just a random hurricane. But they're calling it the storm of the century. They're calling it the storm of the century for a reason. And you have to really remind yourself, deep divers, that what are the chances of you being born in a storm of a century, right? What are the chances of you being born when so many other events are happening all at the same time? So if you take, let's go back 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So you had COVID. And then after COVID, you had Russia and Ukraine. And then you had October 7th, Israel, Hamas. Then you had Australian wildfires. Then you had earthquakes in Turkey. Then you had hurricanes in Miami, Florida. Then you had all kind of things. Now you've got the hurricane in Jamaica. So you got to remind yourself that just in the last 5 years, people have gone through so much. Just in the last 5 years, you've had so many things happening. And that's the reason why you have to really understand the signs of the times. None of these things are happening by accident. They're happening because this is prophecy. This is prophecy. All of this has been prophesied. And, you know that we're living in the end times. If you know, right? It's the last days of humanity as we know it. We're not even talking about how in the next 5 years, we're going to reach a singularity. We're not even talking about in the next 5 years, you are going to get the rise of quantum computing, AI. A lot of people don't even realize that the world is going to be dramatically changed in 2030. You got 5 years left. You got 5 years left. And if you listen to people who are talking about the change that's coming, it's a storm that's coming. Where you're going to wake up one day, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what kind of world am I living in? Because the earth is going to be dramatically changed in 2030. It's not an accident or a coincidence that you have AI as well happening right now. So all of these things happening. And once again, I'm sending good energy to everyone in Jamaica going through this Hurricane Melissa. And this storm, they were aware of it. You know, a lot of people are like, we knew this was coming. But I always tell you, even when a storm, they know is coming, There's nothing you can do about a category 5, category 4 hurricane. All you can do is just prepare to get out of the way. That's the reason why they set up 800 shelters all around Jamaica. But these are the signs of the times. You've got to remind yourself that also the storm outside reflects the storm inside. The storm outside reflects the storm inside. And one of the best ways of dealing with a storm internally, because that's where it all starts, is to remind yourself not to fight the storm, but to surrender to it. You know, trees that stay still and are stubborn, they get uprooted. They get uprooted. But there are trees which don't. And you have to remind yourself of this every single day. There are trees which don't get uprooted. There are trees which are able to be adaptable. They're able to move with the wind, able to move like this, right? And that's what we have to pay attention to every single day. Signs of the times. What are some of the signs of the times, deep divers, that you can see? Hurricane Melissa, storm of the century. You tell me some of the signs of this time. You tell me some of the signs of the times that you've observed, that you see about this situation. Let's talk about it, right? What are some of the signs of the times that you've seen, deep divers, or you're seeing in this situation? So I said, you know, the planet is also mirroring our collective energy. Everything that's happening out there is really a mirror of the collective energy. And storms are brewing collectively. So we have to also pay attention to that. Did you know that even with this hurricane in Jamaica, the birds left days earlier? You know, someone actually spoke about that, how the birds, they left days earlier. And that's always a sign. Anytime you've got animals leaving, deep divers, the cat down the road disappearing, the dog down the road disappearing, birds flying away. Because you see, animals, they know, they've got senses we don't even have access to because they're so in tune. And anytime there's a hurricane coming, birds, they're gone. They're nowhere to be seen. And that's the reason why they knew this was going to be a devastating hurricane, because all the animals just disappeared. All the birds just flew away, you know. And the animals know. The animals, they always know. And these are the signs of the times. Shout out to everyone who's here. Everybody who's diving deep, deep divers. Everybody who's diving deep. Shout out to all of you. So, signs of the times. If you also remind yourself that nothing is an accident, everything is a sign. And this is huge. Nothing is an accident, everything is a sign. And once I started to see the world like this, I realized that, okay, many times, you know, people will say, well, it's climate change. This is happening because this is a natural cycle. But there's nothing natural about this. This is happening for a reason, right? A lot of people can sense that, like, oh my gosh, like, this is happening because of the signs of the times, because of the climate of the world, because so many things right now are happening. A lot of people are out of tune with themselves. A lot of nonsense happening on the planet. All of that is going to manifest in so-called natural disasters. And a lot of people have been feeling this for a long time. A lot of people have been feeling that, gosh, we're literally living in the prophecy. We're living in the prophecy. People are writing about the prophecy. We're living in the prophetic times, right? And what you have to really realize is that we're in it. We're in it right now. And many times you've heard of stories of wild floods and hurricanes, but now this is it. It's happening. And sometimes it can seem like a very surreal feeling, like, okay, well, it's happening. And if you're not in it, it doesn't affect you. But I'm sure you're going to know someone who's in Jamaica or who might go to Jamaica later on in a few years, and they're going to talk about this. So it's all connected. One of the signs of the times is that chaos is the universe's way of rebalancing. Chaos is the universe's way of restoring balance, right? And this is huge because a lot of people say, gosh, why are these things happening? And of course, scientists are going to tell you a scientific answer. But if you dive deeper, you realize that everything is metaphysical, right? Everything is metaphysical. And what we have to remind ourselves is that if something is happening all the way in Jamaica, if this storm is happening, it's gonna affect you. It doesn't matter where you are, who you are, because everything is connected. So we have to remind ourselves that if an event happens thousands of miles away, it is still going to affect the human collective. So this is the trippy part, because just because something is happening in another country, it doesn't mean that it's not going to affect you. And this is what we have to pay attention to, that everything that happens anywhere is going to affect everyone. Anything that happens anywhere is going to affect you. For instance, someone just told me that when the war started with Russia and Ukraine, properties, they dropped about 5% all around the world. Did you know that? When the war started with Russia and Ukraine, properties fell in value. This is the effect of war. Energy prices went up all around the world. So it affects the whole economy. What's going on in Russia and Ukraine affects the whole world for the worse. That's the reason why, at first I'm like, who cares about this stuff? I don't care about what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. But now you realize that actually you have to care because it's going to affect you. Just like what's happening in Jamaica. When you have hurricanes and these events, it will affect you. It affects everyone. And the signs of the times is that another one is, the earth is reminding us all who is really in control. Sometimes human beings say, hey, I'm in control. I've got the power. And it's a humbling experience when you remind yourself that there are forces far greater than you, far more powerful than you, that can crush you in a few milliseconds. So it's a kind of humbling experience. Anytime you get a hurricane, a storm, a flood, it just humbles you to remind yourself that actually Earth is reminding us who's really in control. And, this is huge because once you remind yourself that so many times people think they're in control. My car, my house, my family. It's all me, that people forget that actually human beings have very little control over the natural environment. And Mother Nature is alive and well. And we're going to be spanked. If we get out of line, we start messing around with the planet, we're going to see the repercussions. So when I take a look at all of this situation, it just reminds me that actually it's happening for a reason. And this is the reason why I'm paying attention to it, because I realize that this is hugely significant. Them calling it the storm of the century, you shouldn't take that lightly. Right? And a lot of people didn't even see it coming. Like, if you weren't really tracking it, you probably just heard about it yesterday. But these are the times we're in. There could be something else next week, in a fortnight, next month. So we're in a time right now where everything is happening at the same time, right? And I spoke about that. Everything is speeding up, right? I made a video on that, how time is speeding up. Everything is accelerating. And this is also a sign of the times, because before you know it, there's going to be something else. And all of these things which are happening numb people. Now they get used to it. But once it happens to you, once you're in the eye of the storm, now it's going to leave a big memory with you. It's going to leave a long-lasting effect. So you have to remind yourself that all of these things happening all around the world, it's going to come to you. It's going to come to you soon. Because you see, we're in a time right now where it doesn't matter where you are on the planet. Anything could happen. You might say, hey, I want to go to Australia. It's great. Could be a whole wildfire there. Hey, I want to go and live in Jamaica. They got a hurricane there. So now you're scratching your head to say, actually, where shall I go? I want to go to Florida. Hurricane season. Right? So we're in a time right now where you have to ask for guidance so universe can guide you to go to the right place. Does that make sense, deep divers? Shout out to everyone who's diving deep. Because it seems like it doesn't matter where you go, something is happening. And that's another sign of the times, that you have to realize right now, it's a wake-up call for everybody. Right now, it's a huge wake-up call. That I remember when Hurricane Katrina happened in 2005, I think, right? Hurricane Katrina. And the damage is $94 billion, right? $94 billion to clean up all of that. And they're saying this Jamaica hurricane is going to be, it's already cost them billions, right? So all of these events, they leave catastrophic devastation afterwards. It's not actually when the storm is happening, it's afterwards. It's the infrastructure that's destroyed. Tourism gets destroyed. All of these things happen. So the signs of the times is to remind yourself that a great cleansing comes before renewal. And I love that. This is something to take away that's a positive. A great cleansing always comes before renewal. And, I always look at floods, natural disasters, hurricanes as always a way that Mother Nature is balancing everything out. And that's the reason why you can't fight the storm. The only way to win is to learn how to dance in it. You know, sometimes when it's raining, like pissing it down, I go outside, I put my hands up, woo, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. That's the best thing you can do. You got people holding umbrellas and everything. Umbrella blowing everywhere, right? But if you can actually, anytime it's bad weather, you know, try this exercise. Go outside and do like this. Say, hey, all of a sudden you start to have fun. And this is how you can actually turn the energy around. You can turn the worst thing into a beautiful thing, right? Shout out to everyone who's here, Deep Divers. What are your thoughts? You know, let me know. Let me say a big, huge thank you to Indigo Jules, hitting the super chat, leaving a great tip for the cat down the road. Let me give you a round of applause and say thank you very much for supporting the show. And Deep Divers, if you're on this live, hit the like button right now if you support the real, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Once again, hit the like button right now if you support the real. We're talking about Jamaica Hurricane Melissa. They're calling it the storm of the century. And we are talking about the signs of the times. Okay? The signs of the times. Indigo Jewel, thanks. Indigo Jules, let me give you a round of applause and just say thank you. Indigo Jules, thank you so much. How do you feel about 3I Atlas? Do you believe it's coming to Earth? I am getting mixed opinions about it. That's a phenomenal question. I actually made a video on it. I truly believe that something is going to make contact with Earth in the next decade. And, you know, a lot of people who are speaking about 3I Atlas, you know, they're saying that it's heading towards Earth, right? And you should be concerned, but not fearful. But once again, it's also a sign of the times, right? You have to remind yourself it's not an accident that they're finding this approaching Earth, the size of Manhattan. But it wouldn't surprise me. I'm in a phase right now where I'm not surprised by anything. If they say aliens just existed, landed on Earth, I'm like, okay. We're in a time right now where nobody's surprised. And this should tell you something about the signs of the times, that they're saying this is the storm of the century, right? And people are like, okay, and getting on with their day. So with 3I Atlas, I definitely believe that it's a possibility it could come to Earth. When you listen to what people are saying about it, at the same time, I don't believe there's anything to be afraid of. But I do believe that in your lifetime, in my lifetime, we're going to see something we've never seen before from outer space. Pay attention. Pay attention, right? Because so much is happening. So much is happening. And once you remind yourself that all ancient texts, they spoke about how human beings actually came from another galaxy, from another planet, from another star system. And that's the reason why there's a book I read many years ago, but it was saying how human beings, there's a missing link. Darwin's theory of evolution doesn't make sense. There's a missing gap. All other species are totally different from human beings. And once you do the knowledge, you realize that there's stories of human beings being genetically engineered by other species, and this is a possibility. Go and watch the film Prometheus, right? Ridley Scott, phenomenal film, but that's also showing you, how so much more is going on than we even know, right? And you have to pay attention. You got to remind yourself, James Webb Telescope is billions of dollars. They're not investing that amount of money on a telescope for nothing. They are finding Earth-like planets everywhere. Kepler 186f, Kepler 452b. And I definitely feel that something big is going to come as time goes on, because you see, as technology increases, we can actually see more. Physicists, they talk about how all we need is technology to kind of accelerate so we reach a singularity. And once they start going to Mars and all of these places, it's over. You're going to see all kind of things. Deep divers. We're diving deep. Oh my gosh. Right? Shout out to everyone who's here. Yamato Grace, let me say a big thank you to you. You're most definitely appreciated. Yamato Grace, thank you so much. Good to see you here. Natural disasters help us upgrade our perspectives on life as we see our physical reality. Thank you for your healing energy. Your vibes are beautiful. Hey, you're most definitely appreciated. And that's so powerful right there. Deep divers, Yamato Grace is really dropping jewels and gems. Natural disasters help us upgrade our perspectives on life as we see our physical reality. Thank you for your healing energy. Absolutely. I've always said that actually what we see as a natural disaster is also an opportunity for us all to kind of get a bigger perspective, to realize that actually it's far bigger than us. Sometimes we think, and this is also a reason why a lot of people have a hard time dealing with a hurricane, dealing with a flood, dealing with a wildfire, because it makes us feel helpless. We spend our entire lives believing that we are the center of the universe. We spend our entire lives believing we are all powerful. We are all knowing. And when you get a hurricane, it reminds us that actually we got to humble ourselves. We have to humble ourselves, because what Mother Nature can do, none of us can do. And I've learned, when you're around the ocean, if you go to infinite waters, deep divers, when you're by the ocean, you got to humble yourself, because it doesn't matter how big and strong you think you are, you're nothing more than a drop in the ocean. And once you go into the ocean, it's a whole different universe. And if you swim in the middle of the ocean, you just better pray to God nothing bites your feet. Because once again, it's just showing us that actually we have to humble ourselves. But absolutely, Yamato Grace, that's so powerful. Natural disasters help us upgrade our perspectives on life as we see our physical reality. So, deep divers, what do you think about the signs of the times? A lot of people sometimes say that these things that are happening are man-made or HAARP or all of these things. What do you think about that, deep divers? What do I think? I always say that anything is possible. I'm smart enough to question everything. Because you got to remind yourself, there's technology that can create clouds. There's technology that can actually change the whole weather. And it's only once you start to realize this, you realize that actually anything is possible. CERN, go and research CERN, right? So you have to remind yourself that technology is so advanced right now that we're just touching the tip of the iceberg. We don't even realize that clouds can be generated. And you can even watch Jeremy Clarkson, he's by this cloud generator. He couldn't even believe it. They're creating rain. And it's mind-boggling. Wow, you can create clouds? Yes. They can modify the weather, change the weather. So you also have to have a question mark. All of these natural disasters, is it just Mother Nature, or is there something else going on? And this is the reason why I always say, listen to your intuition. If something feels off, then it probably is. If something feels natural, then it probably is. But if something, a lot of people, if you've believed that, hey, these things that are happening are awfully strange, is something triggering them? Is something influencing them? Don't allow people to shame your opinion, to make you feel bad about what you really believe. Because you got to remind yourself that you're in a world where the secret is the secret, right? It's called The Secret for a reason. And to be honest, a lot of people have no clue of the kind of technology that's available, because the technology they have is 100 years ahead of what we even have. The technology we have is 100 years old. The technology you have, the iPhones, all of these things, the computers, the Macs, 100 years old news. So when you remind yourself that the internet has been around for over 100 years, it was actually used in the Second World War. When you remind yourself that all of these technologies have been in existence, but just not been made available to the public. So when you have the internet, a lot of people say, well, it came in the 90s, but it's been here for a long time. It's just that you haven't had access to it. So once you remind yourself, you got a question. Adrian, thank you so much. You're most definitely appreciated. Thank you so much. Shout out to you. So you have to remind yourself, but these are the signs of the times, Once again, the planet is mirroring our collective energy. And for me, this is the biggest thing, even bigger than anything else. That's what I truly believe, that the planet is a mirror of our collective energy. And if I take a look around at the world right now, I realize that actually there are a lot of amazing things happening, but also there's a lot of inner turmoil that a lot of people have to work through. And I truly believe that as people become better within themselves, we can also create a better external environment. Signs of the times. It's not just the weather. It's prophecy unfolding. And, I speak to a lot of people. A lot of people speak to me. And the amount of people I speak to who talk about the signs of the times is mind-boggling. And you let me know on this chat. Jamaica Hurricane Melissa, storm of the century, signs of the times. What are some of the signs of the times that you see in this situation? Put it in the chat. What are some of the signs of the times that you see in this situation? Put it in the chat. Because you see, there are a lot of people out there who have information. Everyone does. And you have to start sharing your truth, because there's something that we might all need to know, right? Because someone is saying, breakdown of the government, okay? What are some of the signs of the times that you see? And I agree, Riss, I agree 100%. Things are not right, have not been for some time. Absolutely. There shall be disasters in diverse places, right? XYZ, shout out to you. Reaching peak dystopia. Woo, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. A lot of division among humanity, absolutely. Gender wars, chaos, food scarcity. So much illusions nowadays. We're in a dark spiritual age. Absolutely. And the reason why it's so important to pay attention is because, you see, part of awakening is not just singing Kumbaya and peace, love, and light. It's about getting real about what's happening. It's about someone saying, actually, like, IK, so much illusions nowadays. We're in a dark spiritual age. And that's actually a sign of the times that is taking all of these things to happen for us to say, what on earth is going on? A lot of people are like, this doesn't even seem natural, doesn't even seem normal. It seems like all of these things are happening like every week, every 2 weeks. There's another storm, another hurricane, another flood, another war. And these are all the signs of the times where everything is happening all at once. It's overwhelming. And you have to realize that you have to find your center. Because we're in a time right now where we can do something about this. And one of the greatest things you can do is actually hold a collective meditation with friends, a community like here, friends, family members, and send good energy out into the world. That's the most powerful thing you can do. This is how you actually change everything around you. Because you see, you've been told that you can't do anything by yourself. You've been told that you're only one person. The truth is, you're far more powerful than you even realize. You are far more powerful than you even realize. And if enough people actually come together, put aside their massive ego, everything can shift in a better way on the whole planet. And it's happening, and more of it's going to happen. And this is really the silver lining, some hope in a chaotic world. The cat down the road is excited about that, right? And that's also a good point. Seems that these places that are peaceful vacation getaways are having these storms. That's a very pertinent observation. That's a great observation, right? You had Maui as well, right? Seems that these places that are peaceful vacation getaways are having these storms. Pay attention. Pay attention. And that's a great observation. You know, these are the signs of the times. So, symbolically, that can really be translated to even the place of your sanctuary, the place where you want to go on vacation, Jamaica, Montego Bay. You can't even relax there. The storm is going to find you, even on holiday, right? So we now have to pay attention. That's why I told you. You know, a lot of people say, "Hey, I want to go to Florida. You got hurricanes there. I want to go to Jamaica. You got hurricanes there." So you have to realize that we're in a time right now on the planet where you got to find paradise inside of yourself. There's no physical location that's going to give you paradise. You have to find that internally, right? Let me say a huge thank you to the one and only 5D Abundance in the house. "5D Abundance, thank you so much. Gratitude, thank you for going live, mentor. Sending love to all the deep divers. Today is my Earth Day." Hey, happy Earth Day. Today is my Earth Day. If I get one wish, it's that we all come together and make peace and love priority. Stop this nonsense. Absolutely. Woo! I'm sending you happy Earth Day. Good energy to you, 5D Abundance. And that's an amazing wish, you see, and that's a powerful, selfless wish. And it's people like you who are really changing the world for the better because, you know, when I think of Jamaica, I think of Bob Marley. And if there's one artist who kind of is immortalized, is Bob Marley. Because Bob Marley was able to kind of reach everyone on the whole planet. And his music is so powerful. And, you know, humanity has to start moving into that one love. It's not going to be easy because you got to remind yourself that humanity has a long way to go. But it can happen by you being the change you wish to see in the world. But, you know, that's a powerful wish. 5D Abundance. You know, but I always say it can happen. It can definitely happen, but it's got to start with you. And using myself as an example, when I started to share YouTube videos, I realized that I could go even more viral if I spoke about someone. If I trash talk them, talk down on them, make a diss video. That wasn't my style. I said, you know what? There's no need for that. There's no need to bring someone down just to pull yourself up. And you have to remind yourself what I did was collaborating with other content creators. I've had so many amazing people dive deep on Infinite Waters because I said, hey, let's come together. Let's unite. And that's what makes it even more powerful. Just like 5D Abundance is saying, when we can put aside our massive egos, great things can happen. But it's not going to be easy because a lot of us, we think we are the bee's knees and we want to do it all by ourselves. We want to have the spotlight for ourselves. And there's no need for that. There's no time for that. So many things are happening on the planet. And like I said, it's going to affect you. But pay attention that everything is a sign. A hurricane is not just a hurricane. The ancients knew that a hurricane was a sign. That's the reason why in the Navajo communities, the Hopi tribe, the Cree tribe, they spoke about hurricanes as a sign. They spoke about how hurricanes, what is the word hurricane? Where does it come from? Put it in the chat. What does the word hurricane even mean? Put it in the chat. Right? Because the word hurricane means something itself. And I always say, pay attention to the word itself. Where does it come from? How did we get that name hurricane? Right? And if I'm not mistaken, hurricane is actually a god of the wind. I didn't even chat GPT this, right? My recall is good, right? But hurricane is an entity. This is what the ancients believed, that a hurricane was a force, a supernatural force, warning us about something. So you have to pay attention. I'm sending everyone in Jamaica good energy. Everyone in Jamaica good energy. Everyone in the whole world good energy. But you have to remind yourself that these things aren't by accident. They're not random. And these are the signs of the times. And what I want to say is that pay attention to your own internal state, because you're also a part of it. If you are walking around full of anger, rage, you are already a walking storm, a walking hurricane. And that's the reason why part of being an alchemist is to transform that energy. That's what I am, right? And we all have to remind ourselves that it's not just things happening out there that we've got to pay attention to. We've got to pay attention to the hurricanes in our own lives. That's why I told you in that video, there are hurricanes happening inside of you. There are tsunamis happening inside of you. There are wildfires happening inside of you. And those are the ones you have to face. You have to overcome. You have to remind yourself that it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be easy, because it's going to take work. It's going to take work of learning how to transform that energy. That energy is so powerful. And that's the reason why it can destroy you or it can renew you. It can destroy you or it can renew you. And you have to make that choice, what you want it to do for you. When there is a huge storm, a rain coming down, it's heavy. You can sit indoors and feel depressed, or you can go outside and make the most of it. So we've always got to remind ourselves there's always a choice, even in a bad situation, a bad weather condition. You can transform the energy into something positive, make it work for you. But these are really the signs of the times. And in my mind, Mother Nature is sending a wake-up call to all of us. We better pay attention, because in my mind, this is just the tip of the iceberg. What do you think, deep divers? In my mind, there are going to be more of these things happening. Not because I'm a doomsday person, but because I just feel it. I just feel that we're in a season of hurricanes and wildfires and natural disasters and all of these things. It gets worse. Thank you, 7. It gets worse before it gets better. And sometimes it takes these things to happen for us to really wake up, to see what is really happening. That's a slow motion. I said sometimes it takes these things to happen for us to really wake up, to see what is really happening. I want to say that there is a glimmer of hope. Not all is lost. Even in a hurricane, you've got to remind yourself that even as bad as this storm is, something good can come out of it. Put it in the chat. What good do you think can come out of this hurricane? Because I can think of a few good things. Do you think anything good can come out of this situation, deep divers? Put it in the chat. One thing you've got to remind yourself of, and this is something to pay attention to. Unity, absolutely. Unity can come out. You know, when these things happen, people start to unite. That's one good thing. Another good thing, Jerry Jones, absolutely. Humility humbles us. We think we're in control. We aren't in control. Humbles us. Big time. Right? Gratitude. Absolutely. That's another positive thing that can come out of it. We just have to say thank you for the small things. sometimes we stress over the small things when in actuality it could be far worse. A lot of us, we could all be in the eye of the storm, but we're not. So all of us who aren't even in Jamaica can say thank you. It could have been your house there. Could have been your family there. And some people's families are there. Imagine what it's like for them. So, sympathy and empathy. Absolutely. You know, this is where humanity really shines, to realize that actually when these things happen, you find a lot of altruistic people. People want to help. People want to support. And that's phenomenal. Right? And Leah Hines, I'm sending good energy to your dad. My dad is there, sending good energy to your dad. Right? And that's why I'm saying some people, they got family there. So you have to remind yourself that you've got to be thankful you're not in the eye of the storm. You know, we're in a powerful time right now. And I just wanted to come here to give you this message, you know, of the signs of the times. Pay attention. These things aren't random. These things aren't happening by accident. They're happening for a big reason. And once people start to realize this, it's all going to make sense. I'm sending everyone good energy, especially in Jamaica, the whole world. And smash the like button, share the video, deep divers, subscribe to the channel. And this was a powerful show. Deep divers. I want to thank everyone who's been here, everybody who's been on this chat. This was fun, right? But like I say, the signs of the times are here. Okay, we're going to keep the show going. We got some super chats. Let's keep the show going. Okay. Let me say a big shout out to Charlene Higgins. You're most definitely appreciated. Charlene Higgins, thank you so much. We need to help each other. Gaia Bliss, come on, Infinite Family. Let us pay brother Cat down the road $1. Hey, you're most definitely appreciated. Thank you so much. And let me say a big shout out to Callie as well. You're most definitely appreciated. Praise and thanksgiving. Callie, shout out to you. Praise and thanksgiving in the Bible equal gratitude. It's the mind flushing out toxins. Just like when you release a bowel movement, the mind releases too. Hey, you're diving deep right now. We love it. We love it. And that's what it's always about, you know. That was powerful. Thank you so much for your insight. Like I said, deep divers, it's really the signs of the times, you know. Pay attention to everything that's happening. One of the biggest things I also want to tell you is that this will be forgotten about in a week's time. What I mean by that is that there's going to be another story. But you see, everything in Jamaica is, the effects are going to be there. Right? The effects are going to be long lasting. But what I mean is that the reason why you know about this is because of the media. And you have to remind yourself that the media can change what you think about in a click of a second. Right? By the time you click your fingers, there's another story. So you have to remind yourself, this is also a sign of the times where you're not even going to get a time to even process what's happening. Because next week, there's going to be a whole nother story. We're in these kind of times. Pay attention. Where something big can happen today, tomorrow something else big can happen. You forgot about what happened yesterday. So we're in a time right now where Big things are happening today, tomorrow, the day after that. And the hurricane symbolizes all of that. It's a metaphor that storms are brewing on the planet, not just in Jamaica. When you have a storm in Jamaica, you got a storm in the whole world. Storms are brewing. It's time to get right with yourself. It's time to get right with Mother Nature. It's time to get right with humanity itself. Because you see, humanity is going through a very dark period, a very trying period and testing period. Because, like I told you, you got 5 years left until 2030 to get your shit together. Because people say time is speeding up. Things are happening quickly. Pay attention to the signs of the times. It's happening because right now, human beings are being replaced slowly. I told you. In the next 5 years, human beings are going to be out of a lot of jobs. AI is coming. Is coming. Is chasing you. Right? Already, people are on their phone 24/7. Just imagine what it's going to be like in 5 years. People are going headfirst into the metaverse. What does this mean? It means that it won't even matter what's happening in the physical reality because you'll be living in a virtual VR headset. That's what's coming around the corner. You better wake up. Ready Player One, all of these films were telling you that AI is coming. And you see there's going to be two ways this is going to go. You can actually go with your tribe right now. You can do that. Or you're going to have to merge with a machine. You're going to have to become the Terminator. Right? And that's what's coming. So these are the signs of the times. It's not a coincidence that the same time you're having a hurricane is the same time AI is taking over the whole world. It's not an accident. It's happening because this was all prophesized a long time ago. So what you have to really understand is that what are your next moves? What are you doing right now to put you in a better position for tomorrow? What are you doing right now to put your family in a better position for tomorrow? Because you might be saying, hey, I'm just going to live life like how I've always been living life. It's not going to work. There are people who set up home, set up shop, and in one day, a hurricane can just come and blow everything out of the water. Gone. So you have to be realizing that all of these things which are happening are showing us how fleeting life is, where you don't want to place all of your eggs in one basket. Because this is all a metaphor for we're in a turbulent time on the planet where you have to be prepared for everything and anything because it can all go down. And when shit hits the fan, you want to be able to say, hey, I've got this. You don't want to be caught off guard. You don't want to get caught lacking. You want to say, actually, I was prepared for this. So you want to prepare for the next hurricane. You want to prepare for the next storm. You want to prepare for the next world event that's going to rock you out of your chair. You're going to be like, what happened? And you want to be like, hey, I was ready for it. Hey, I was waiting for you. Right? Once you can say that, you're going to be fine. Once you say, actually, I was waiting for you. We're in a time right now where you want to be ready because it's going to come. It's definitely going to come. This is not the last world event that you're going to see. If they're saying this is a storm of the century, if they're saying this is the storm of the century, there's going to be another headline even bigger than this because we're in these kind of days and times right now. That's the reason why you have to prepare. Thank goodness a lot of people in Jamaica were prepared for this, because if you're not prepared for a storm, you're going to be wiped out. And once again, a hurricane is a metaphor that storms are brewing. It was all good just a week ago. Today's a new day. You have to remind yourself, we're in a time right now where you don't want to go to sleep. Like Nas said, I never sleep because sleep is the cousin of death. You don't want to fall asleep, because if you do, you might just wake up with a storm outside of your door. Nothing to be afraid of, everything to be prepared for. Nothing to be afraid of, everything to be prepared for. Nothing to be afraid of, everything to be prepared for. A lot of people might say, well, I'm not even in Jamaica. I don't care. A lot of people will say that. But what if I told you something is going to find you where you are on this planet? It doesn't matter where you are. It's going to happen to everybody because everything is connected. And that's the reason why you have to prepare. You have to realize that we're in a season of chaos. But out of chaos comes order. Embrace it. We're also in a time where we have to start realizing what we can all do together. And this is where great things happen. Right? So, like I say, we're in a powerful time. Charlene Higgins, thank you so much. You're most definitely appreciated. Jamaica Hurricane Melissa. Storm of the century. Storm of the century. Signs of the times. Earth is reminding us who is really in control. And this is a big one. Earth is reminding all of us who is really in control. Doesn't matter what job you have, how much money you make. When it comes to the forces of nature, you better humble yourself. And I always tell people, go hiking, go to the mountains, go and swim in the ocean. You're going to realize that you're nothing more than a grain of sand, but you are extremely powerful. You're extremely powerful, but also you got to humble yourself, because at any moment, a guy can remind you who's really in charge. A guy can remind you who's really running things on the planet. Man makes plans, God disposes, right? Man makes plans, God disposes. And this is something to pay attention to. Signs of the times. A lot of people make plans, forgetting about who's really in charge. Doesn't matter about your plans. People had plans to go and live in Jamaica, bought a house by the beach, invested millions of dollars. Maybe they had a beach house, cost $10 million. They had plans. Nature had other plans. So we have to pay attention to the signs of the times. We're in a time right now where you have to pay attention. It's not just about your plans. It's about getting right with the planet, getting right with yourself, and realizing we are in a time where these are the signs of the times. These things aren't accidents. They're not random events. They are messages from the universe itself reminding us to wake the hell up and get right. Deep divers. Am I talking too much? Am I talking too much? Shout out to everyone who's here. Everybody in the chat, you're most definitely appreciated. It's a beautiful time to be alive, deep divers. You know, you got to remind yourself that these kinds of events, world events with natural forces, they remind us, wow, the ancients were aware of these things. They were aware that there are other forces involved with life itself. And the signs of the times is to really pay attention to your own life to realize that actually tomorrow isn't promised. Anything you want to do, you better do it right now. That's what my grandma told me, right? She was in her 90s, right? She knew a lot of stuff, deep divers. So you got to remind yourself, anything you want to do, you better do it right now. Because there's only now. I live life like I got a storm behind me. I live life like I got a hurricane outside of my door. I got to do it right now. I haven't got time to wait till next week, next year. So if there's something that you want to create, deep divers, what are you waiting for? You got some people who are like, Ralph, oh my gosh, thank you so much for your videos. I want to start a YouTube channel. Someone once told me I'm going to start next year. I said, what? Good luck. You better start today. You better do it right after this live stream. Because you got a hurricane outside of your door waiting for you. If you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? So these are also the signs of the times where also in a metaphor, it's showing us a sense of urgency. That's what storms symbolize. Urgency. Hurry up and do it right now, right? Because we've been resting on our laurels for a long time. We've been slacking. And the storm can really wake us up, get us back on our square, and make sure we're on our job, our mission, our purpose. So there's also a positive from even a storm to remind us that, hey, we got to be on our purpose. We can't just fall asleep. Go hard or go home, right? So deep divers, smash the like button right now if you're ready for good energy on the whole world, in the whole world, and sending good energy to everyone in Jamaica, the whole world, and everybody on this chat. Deep divers, you are most definitely appreciated. Much love to all of you. This was a powerful show. Powerful show. Let's go 80s. One love to all of you. Much love. I'm so happy. The whole world is just beginning. We already won. It's about us all. So many beautiful deep divers here. Right, little 80s for you deep divers. Charlene Higgins, thank you so much. Let's break the Matrix curse. 437 is watching. Let's support our bro and pay $1 tomorrow. We do the same for our family. Shout out to you. You're most definitely appreciated. And to everyone who's been here, deep divers, once again, let's remind ourselves storms aren't going to stop coming. The solution is to learn how to dance in them. The solution is to learn how to make the most of them, because they're always going to come. You got to be ready. You got to be prepared, and you have to become the alchemist. To everyone who's been on this stream, you're most definitely appreciated. Infinite love, peace, and harmony. One love, peace.